Welcome to the Dice Tower, a series of video reviews about board and card games. Here are your hosts, Tom Vassell and Sam Healy.
Today we're reviewing Bang! Samurai Sword, which is kind of a lame name, I think. There's already at least one, probably two or three other games called Samurai Sword.
Or swords.
A Samurai Sword. Oh, okay, that's true. This is just one Samurai Sword. But this is a game based on the Bang system. It's essentially it's like Bang 2.0 maybe?
Yeah, you could say that.
Yeah, so let me show you how it plays, and then we'll come back here and tell you if it's good or not. At the beginning of the game, everyone is going to get two cards. They're going to get one of these cards, which is these 7 cards are shuffled and secretly handed out. Now, that's a 7-player game. In a 6-player game, you'll take out one, and there'll be different roles depending on the number of players. So I'm just going to show you the 7-player game that there's 1 Ronin, 3 ninjas, a shogun, and 2 samurai. The shogun and samurai are on the same team, the ninjas are on the same team, and the ronin's on a team by himself. He doesn't show up in a very small player game, and you'll take different ones out. Now, the 2 samurais and the shogun are on the same team, and they are trying to kill the ninjas, and the ronin's trying to kill pretty much everybody. And then each player, these are kept hidden except the shogun. He reveals his, so everybody knows who the shogun is. Everybody is also going to get a character card. These character cards will give you a special ability, and they also give you a certain number of hit points that you will have over the course of the game. So this person takes 1 less wound from weapons, and she starts with 4 hit points. In this game, they're called resilient points, but it's really hard for me to call them that. I call them hit points. This person can play an extra weapon every turn. This person, when they attack you, it's +1 difficulty. So you get one of these, and that's face up. And then players are going to take resilience points equal to the number on their card, and they're also going to take honor points. And so the point of this game is to take as many honor points as you possibly can. Players are sitting around a table from each other, and this really matters. And this is one of the reasons that I think it's best as a 7-player game. But when you attack another player, you're going to there's a certain difficulty to attacking them. There's a base difficulty. So if Musashi wants to attack someone, there's a difficulty of 1 for the 2 people next to him, then 2 for these 2, and then 3 for the people who are over there. And that's how the game starts, with a base difficulty. Gameplay is actually made up of a whole deck of cards that you have, and you will start with a handful of these cards, and at the beginning of your turn, you're going to draw 2 of these cards, and then you can play basically as many cards from your hand as you want. Now, you can only play 1 weapon per turn, unless you have an ability or something that lets you play more than 1. Each weapon has a difficulty amount. So see, this wakizashi here can hit someone who is level 1 difficulty. So at the beginning of the game, I'm only going to be able to hit the 2 people next to me, and it will do 3 damage if it hits them. But there are all kinds of weapons. This one has a range of 5 basically, but only does 2 damage. Range of 4 does 1. And the vast amount of different cool weapons is just really interesting, and there's all kinds of weapons that you can play on somebody else as you hit them with these different weapons. Now, when you play a weapon on someone, they're going to take that much damage automatically, unless they have a parry card in their hand. If they play a parry card and discard a parry card, then they dodge your attack. So you can make 1 attack per turn, but there are other cards that you can play from the deck also. These blue cards can be played, and they essentially allow you they stay in front of you. So for example, this person here, my weapons do an extra wound. This one here is a real pain in the neck, because each person has a chance to flip a card at the beginning of their turn. If it's a weapon, they have to discard a weapon or they lose an honor point. But you also have armor Oh, and this Bushido is neat because if it misses you, it goes around a table. So it's kind of like a time bomb waiting to go off. Armor makes it +1 for people to hit you. And Focus allows you to play an extra weapon card each turn, and you can play multiple of these, so you can have souped up armor, or you can have play a whole pile of weapon cards on your turn. There are also other cards you can play that are one-time use. Like here you draw 3 cards, everyone else draws 1. Everybody has to discard a weapon or they take a wound. Everyone has to discard a parry or they take a wound. Here you can get rid of a card that's in front of another player. This is how you get rid of blue cards. Or you can take a random one from their hand. Here you can steal a random card from someone else's hand. Here you regain all your resilience points and someone else gets a card from the deck. And this one here lets you draw 2 cards, but if you have it in your hand at the end of the game, it's worth an honor point. Now the whole game is about attacking other players, and so you're constantly trying to take other players out to make the resilience points go to 0, because if you do, then you will take one of their honor points. And that's great. And if someone runs out of honor points, the game ends. In fact, if you go through the draw pile, everybody loses an honor point, so the game is going to end at a specific point. And the thing is, you want to make sure you're taking honor points from people on the other team, but you don't know. So you're out to lie to each other, and I'm on the samurai team, I swear. And you're trying to fight each other, because at the end of the game, everyone's going to shows how many honor points they have, and then you use this card to figure out how much everything's worth. So if you see here, for example, in a 7-player game, we add together the samurai and the shogun's points, and they're worth 1, and the ninja points are worth 1. You add all 3 of them together. But the Ronin's points are multiplied by 3. And so that will change in a 6-player game. It changes in different games depending on who's in the game. But essentially, you are going to take your points and add them together with the people on your team. And whoever has the most honor points is the winner of the game. All right. Well, I mean, it's going to be compared to Bang a lot, and we're going to have to do that in this review. I think what they've done here is they are like relaunching Bang to a sense, because Bang has what, 30 expansions now?
Something like that. A lot of them were a little small, just a few cards. A couple of them were big card expansions, but it's part of the Bang game system, which is very similar to Memoir 40. I mean, the whole Memoir 44 system, the Command and Color system, the Battle Lore. All of that stuff. All of those games play very similar. This plays very similar to Bang, although it does have a few rules changes and that type of thing. I do have a little bit of a nitpick about the game, though. I mean, the name of the game, Samurai Sword. Why would you name the thing Samurai Sword when half of the characters are actually ninjas? Don't understand it.
Yeah, well, I guess maybe the samurais are the good guys, so they're trying to win.
Okay. So, name it Ninjas.
There's enough games named Ninja.
Okay.
Anyway, one of the things that changes this from Bang dramatically is that no one dies in this game.
Yeah, no player elimination, which is actually a really cool thing.
Right, and I don't think the game is any longer because of that. You're trading honor points back and forth, but because the game has that kind of forced end mechanic, I mean, it's going to end. Mm-hmm. I would say it lasts a little bit shorter than Bang, but everyone's in it to the end.
I think it's going to be a lot shorter than Bang, because Bang did have that element where it kind of drug on and drug on.
But people are dying in Bang.
Yeah.
I think the expansions dragged Bang out, because they gave people special abilities to somehow survive or come back from the dead.
Added rules, added cards, yeah. But this one is pretty expedited. It keeps moving along at a pretty good pace.
Another thing about this game is they combined the Bang cards and the weapon cards into one, and I really like that. It was fun thematically. It's to say I'm hitting you with this weapon, and it does more damage, but has less power, or this weapon has a lot of power, but does less damage. Stuff like that was fun, and using the different weapons. It's not gory at all, but it was fun because for us Americans, all American kids think samurai weapons are cool of every shape and sort. Period.
Yeah, and ninjas are just like double cool.
So, what do you think about the roles in the game? Because in Bang, you must keep your roles secret. In this one, I don't know that it's as necessary. In fact, I think there comes a point where you need to be like, hey, we're ninjas. Let's go. And flip the table and go on.
Yeah, that's pretty much the case. Whoever you are, you need to go after the Ronin. You cannot leave him by his lonesome, because his tripling his honor points at the end of the game is a huge advantage. So, whether you're a samurai or a ninja, I think you have to really pick your battles. No real pun intended. The idea here is that you really can't let the Ronin get those honor points stacked up. You've got to keep him to a minimum.
Yeah, in the original game, the Renegade, who was like the Ronin in this one, if he won a game, it was 1 out of 10, 20 games. It was really hard. He had almost had to be like a perfect storm for him to win. And not so with the Ronin.
No, he has a pretty good chance of winning if you let him stick around. So I would say that's one of the main things I would keep in mind when you're playing the game is make sure the Ronin is try to figure out who he is pretty quick and keep an eye on him. Other than that, I think it's fairly balanced. I mean, there's 2 samurai and a shogun, and then there's 3 ninjas, and then there's a Ronin. So you just got to keep your eye on the Ronin. Otherwise, I think this actually works a lot better.
It's really good. I mean, let's take Bang out of the equation for a moment. It's a really good game if you've never played Bang or anything.
Right.
This is a really good game because it goes up to 7, but it also plays with the smaller number just as well because you're still trying to figure out who's what role. But I mean, you're talking probably a minute. What does the box say? 3 to 7. I would never play with 3, but I would play with 4. 4 or 5, and 6 and 7. I like 7 the best, and there are a few games that do 7 well. This one does.
Yeah.
Now, if you already own Bang, should you get Samurai Sword?
Yes. Because I think this one's a little bit more of a streamlined version. It plays faster than Bang does, so if you don't have the time that Bang would require, you could probably knock out a game of this pretty quick and still have the same flavor in your mouth.
I would say if you really love the spaghetti western theme, you might want Bang better. But I also agree that this is better than Bang, not because it doesn't have player elimination. I don't care so much about that, but I think that it's streamlined. The cards in this game, you never say, I don't know what this card does. While that happened all the time in Bang.
Yeah.
In this one, it either tells you exactly what the card does, or it's a weapon or the parry, and very, very, very simplified with just boom, boom, boom. And once you know how to play it, it goes pretty quickly.
The cards actually tell you what they do instead of just having that little stream of little icons at the bottom where you had to go back and consult the rules. Okay, well, it does this when this happens and this happens. Well, here the cards actually tell you what it does. So that made it a lot easier to understand. It cut down on the iconography, and that's kind of cool for me. That's always a plus. The less iconography you have, unless it's really good iconography, the better.
All right. So anyway, that's Samurai Sword. I'm going to give it 2 Samurai Swords up.
And I'm going to give this 3 shurikens in your face.
Maybe I'll give it 1.6, but I do like it. It's a good game, and for me, it joneses out the Bang game, and instead has I think it takes its place, and I think it will be interesting to see if they expand this franchise in the future.
Yeah, I'm wondering if Bang might be dead.
Not dead, but
well, obsolete. I think. I think it's obsolete. I own Bang and I own a lot of the expansions, but to be honest with you, just because of how long it takes, it doesn't hit the table very often. This one might replace it.
There you go, Samurai Sword.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find the latest board game news at DicetowerNews.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Fun Again Games, the world's best game source. Fun Again Games has over 5,000 games available. Check them out at funagain.com.